Yeah, so we're back with another video from Clearing Coding, and today we'll be seeing the use of shared preferences in Android Studio, so as to save specific data. For any further doubts and all, you can mail me up, and the code will be in the description. Uh, Moving on. So today we'll be looking at shared preferences. Yeah. So shared preferences are basically used in Android when a particular user wants to save anything or any particular setting within the given app. So for example, say you have logged into the app and you would want to save certain settings within the app, like say the theme you want to set it as a dark theme or a light theme, that you can save within the app, and each time you open the app the theme is going to be the same. You won't have to keep changing the theme back and forth again from light to dark, and we'll be seeing a very simple example of that out here. So I'll be explaining this in depth. We see for this purpose we'll have to be implementing shared preferences object, and if I'm not mistaken, I'll just go to the build. Sorry. Um, yep. So, yeah. So, as some of you had asked me earlier, in the dependencies part, there is nothing additional added for shared preferences. And moving on to our Java class. Okay. So, Um, as we see this entire class, we talked about the shared preferences object, which I put out here. Now what we'll be doing is having a string object, final string object, and it will be of a static type, wherein we'll be using this as your base object. So this basically what it will do is retain all the particular settings. It will be mapped to my prefs or my preferences. It will be mapped to that one. Moving on. Yeah, so what I'll be doing out here, shared preferences is equals to get shared preferences, and then the my preferences object which is seen on top, and get application context, that is this application's context, and the mode we are opening it is in private mode and not a public mode. So it won't be visible to other classes, only visible to this class in certain. For example, so other classes will not be able to access the settings or anything saved within this particular class. That is the meaning of private. So moving on, what were the shared references that we had used? So as you see out here, this LOC, what I've done is layout color. That's what this LOC stands for. So what I would be wanting the user to do out here is through a spinner menu, choose the color or choose the theme for the given activity. So he can choose from either red, blue, or white. This is the color palette offered to the user, and I've used the switch case for each particular color, and default is a break condition. And we see for red, blue, and white, all of them have the same lines of code. So moving on, what does shared preferences got to do out here? So now we have an editor class. So shared preferences has a subclass called as the editor class, and what we do is we call the editor object of the editor class, and what we do out here is we call the edit function of that for the shared preferences object. And within this editor, once we call this edit function, we are allowing the shared preferences to be edited, and then after doing that, we put uh, we call a particular function that can be either put end, put string, or something to put a particular value for a particular object. Now what happens is, once you put this color dot red into C, it is C is mapped with this, and this is in turn mapped with the shared preferences object, shared preferences string that we created right at the top. So that so it's a map to map to map. That's what's happening out here. It's a correspondence relation of 1:1:1. Yeah. And then finally, don't forget to call commit for the particular editor object, and that is it. And once you have called this, the same preferences that you set out here is accessed out here. Shared preferences is equals to, so it's, and then through this and be so what's happening out here is once the on create method is called, it accesses the shared preferences and sets the color for the given activity layout. It doesn't set it to the default that is white or something. It sets it as to whatever we had set it earlier. Like, suppose if it said red earlier, it keeps the red as a constant on the next tap run. And that's all for this video. I'll give you the code if you ping me up, and that's it.